"Excuse me, the help uses the back entrance," Harrison said, blocking Imani's path at the charity gala. His friends laughed. She smiled and walked to her reserved table front row. The auction began. A Picasso painting. Harrison bid $3 million. $5 million, Imani said. The room gasped. He turned around. $5.2 million. $7 million, she replied, sipping champagne. His face went red. Then the doors opened. Two children in matching formal wear walked in. "Mommy!" Her twins ran to her. Harrison's champagne glass slipped from his fingers. The children had his eyes, his smile, his dimples. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel and let's get started. Staff entrance is that way. You are welcome. Harrison Caldwell pointed toward a narrow hallway without looking at the woman's face. His friends laughed behind him. The woman in the gold dress smiled politely and walked past him into the ballroom. Harrison shrugged and forgot about her immediately. It was a cold Friday night in December. Snow fell lightly on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. Black limousines lined up outside the Plaza Hotel. Men in expensive suits and women in designer gowns stepped out onto the red carpet. Photographers took pictures. This was the annual Winter Charity Gala. Only the wealthiest people in New York received invitations. Harrison arrived in a black limousine at exactly 7:30. He was 42 years old. He was the CEO of Caldwell Capital, a financial firm with offices in Manhattan. He lived in a luxury apartment on Fifth Avenue. Tonight he wore a custom black suit that cost $12,000. His watch was Swiss and cost $60,000. He adjusted his cufflinks as he stepped out of the car. A photographer called his name. Harrison smiled and waved. He felt powerful. He felt like he owned the world. Inside the marble lobby of the Plaza Hotel, three men waited near the bar. Harrison walked toward them with confidence. His shoes were polished perfectly. His hair was styled with expensive product. Everything about him screamed success. "Harrison! Finally!" The first man was Dylan Chen. He was 38 years old with black hair and glasses. Dylan worked as Harrison's business partner. They managed real estate portfolios together. "Traffic was terrible," Harrison said. He shook Dylan's hand firmly. The second man stepped forward. His name was Stephen Marks. He was 45 with gray hair at his temples. Stephen owned 3 hotels in Manhattan. "We already started without you," Stephen said. He held up a glass of champagne. The third man was Marcus Webb. He was 50 years old and the oldest in their group. Marcus ran a hedge fund. He handed Harrison a glass of champagne. "To another successful year," Marcus said. They clinked glasses. The champagne was expensive French champagne. Each bottle cost $800. Harrison drank it like water. "Did you close the deal with the property in Brooklyn?" Dylan asked. "Signed the papers this morning," Harrison said. $4 million profit." $4 million? Not bad for a Tuesday, Stephen laughed. They stood in the lobby drinking and talking loudly. Other guests walked past them. Harrison felt their eyes on him. He liked being noticed. He liked being admired. He checked his reflection in a large mirror on the wall. Perfect. "We should head inside," Marcus said. "The auction starts at 8. "What are they auctioning tonight?" Harrison asked. "Art, jewelry, some vintage wine collection," Dylan said. "But the main item is a 1932 Picasso painting." "How much?" Harrison asked. "Estimated between 2 and 3 million, Stephen said. Harrison smiled. "Maybe I will bid on it." "You do not even like art," Dylan said. "I like expensive things," Harrison replied. They laughed and walked toward the ballroom entrance. Harrison walked in front. He always walked in front. He liked leading. As they approached the doors, Harrison saw a woman standing near the entrance. She wore a stunning gold evening gown. Her skin was deep brown. Her hair was curly and pinned up with gold clips. She looked elegant, but Harrison did not recognize her face. He assumed she worked at the hotel. Without thinking, he stepped directly in front of her. He pointed to a side hallway. "Staff entrance is that way. You are welcome." His friends laughed. Dylan covered his mouth. Stephen shook his head but smiled. Marcus said nothing. The woman looked at Harrison. Her face showed no emotion. Her dark brown eyes were calm. She smiled politely. It was a cold smile. Then she walked past him into the ballroom without saying a word. "That was rude, Harrison," Marcus said quietly. "What? I was helping her?" Harrison said, and she looked lost. "She did not look lost. She looked like a guest," Marcus said. "Well, if she is a guest, she should dress more appropriately," Harrison said. He walked into the ballroom. The ballroom was enormous. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Each chandelier held hundreds of lights. Round tables filled the room. White tablecloths covered each table. Fresh flowers sat in the center of every table. A stage stood at the front of the room. A live orchestra played classical music in the corner. Everything looked perfect. Everything looked expensive. Harrison and his friends found their table near the back. Their name cards were printed in gold letters. Harrison sat down and immediately ordered more champagne. A waiter brought a bottle to their table within minutes. "This is the life," Stephen said. He leaned back in his chair. "This is what success looks like," Harrison agreed. Around them, the wealthiest people in New York took their seats. CEOs, hedge fund managers, real estate developers, fashion designers. A famous actress sat 3 tables away. A senator sat near the stage. Harrison recognized most of the faces. This was his world. These were his people. At exactly 8 o'clock, the lights dimmed. A man in a tuxedo walked onto the stage. He was the auctioneer. He held a microphone and smiled at the crowd. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the annual Winter Charity Gala. Tonight, we will auction beautiful items. All proceeds go to the Children's Hospital of New York. Let us begin." The crowd applauded politely. Harrison clapped twice and then reached for his champagne. The first few items were jewelry, diamond necklaces, ruby earrings, a vintage Rolex watch. People bid casually. Harrison did not raise his paddle. He was waiting for the Picasso. Finally, the auctioneer announced, "Our next item is very special. A 1932 Picasso painting titled Woman in Blue. This piece is valued between $2 and $3 million. Let us start the bidding at $1 million. Several paddles went up around the room. The price climbed quickly. 1.2 million, 1.5 million, 1.8 million. Harrison watched carefully. He wanted to make an impression. He wanted everyone to see his wealth. When the bidding reached 2.8 million, Harrison raised his paddle high. $3 million, he called out loudly. People turned to look at him. Dylan grinned. Stephen nodded approvingly. The auctioneer pointed at Harrison. $3 million from the gentleman in the back. Do I hear 3.2? The room was silent. Harrison smiled. He was about to win. Then a calm voice came from the front row. $5 million. The entire ballroom gasped. Harrison sat up straight. He looked toward the front. The woman in the gold dress sat at a front row table. She held her paddle casually in one hand. She sipped champagne with the other. She did not even turn around to look at Harrison. Harrison leaned forward. He squinted to see her name card on the table. His stomach dropped. The card read, Imani Davis, founder and CEO of Apex Innovation Technologies. Imani. The name hit him like a punch. His hands started to shake. His chest felt tight. Memories flooded his mind all at once. 6 years ago. Her small apartment in Queens. Her smile. Her laugh. The night she told him she was pregnant. The panic he felt. The way he left and never came back. The 37 calls he never answered. He forgot about her. He told himself she probably handled it. He never imagined she kept the babies. He never imagined she became this successful. "Harrison?" Dylan's voice pulled him back. "Are you okay?" Harrison could not speak. He stared at the back of Imani's head. She sat perfectly still. She did not look at him. She did not need to. She already won. The auctioneer spoke again. $5 million from Miss Davis. Do I hear 5.2? Harrison's hands began to shake as 6 years of buried guilt crashed down on him all at once. Dylan grabbed Harrison's arm. "Do you know that woman?" Harrison opened his mouth, but no words came out. His throat felt tight. His heart pounded in his chest. Sweat formed on his forehead despite the air conditioning in the ballroom. "Harrison, answer me. Do you know her?" Dylan asked again. Stephen leaned closer. "Who is she?" Marcus pulled out his phone. He typed quickly and then looked up. Apex Innovation Technologies. They created that data security platform everyone uses. The company is worth $2 billion. $2 billion? Stephen whispered. "Who is she?" Imani Davis, Marcus read from his phone, age 38. She founded the company 5 years ago. Forbes called her one of the youngest black female billionaires in America. Harrison felt sick. His hands trembled. He gripped the edge of the table. The woman he abandoned now sat in the front row of the Plaza Hotel. She wore a gold gown that probably cost more than his car. She just bid $5 million on a painting like it was nothing. She became more successful than he would ever be. "Harrison, seriously, what is wrong with you?" Dylan demanded. The auctioneer's voice cut through Harrison's thoughts. $5 million going once. Do I hear 5.2 million? Harrison raised his paddle. His hand shook so much, the paddle almost fell. $5.2 million, he said. His voice cracked. People turned to look at him. They whispered behind their hands. The auctioneer pointed at Harrison. 5.2 million from the gentleman in the back. Imani still did not turn around. She lifted her champagne glass to her lips. She took a slow sip. Then she raised her paddle without looking back. $7 million, she said calmly. The entire ballroom gasped again. $7 million was an enormous amount, even for this crowd. The woman sitting next to Imani leaned over and whispered something. Imani shook her head slightly. She placed her paddle down on the table. She was done bidding. She knew she won. The auctioneer looked shocked. $7 million from Miss Davis. Do I hear 7.2? Harrison stared at his paddle. He could bid again. He had the money. But what would be the point? This was not about the painting. This was about power. Imani was showing him exactly who she became. She was showing him she did not need him. She never needed him. Harrison, are you going to bid? Stephen asked. Harrison shook his head slowly. He put his paddle down. 7 million going once, going twice. Sold to Miss Imani Davis for $7 million. The auctioneer banged his gavel. The crowd applauded. Imani nodded politely. She did not smile. She did not celebrate. She simply won and moved on. Dylan stared at Harrison. What just happened? I need air, Harrison said. He started to stand up, but before he could move, the ballroom doors at the back opened. Harrison heard small voices, children's voices. He turned around. 2 small children walked into the ballroom. They held hands with a tall man in a gray suit. The little girl wore a gold dress that matched Imani's gown exactly. The little boy wore a tiny black suit with a bow tie. They looked around the ballroom with wide eyes. The tall man bent down and said something to them. The little girl pointed toward the front of the room. Then both children saw Imani. Their faces lit up with joy. "Mommy! Mommy!" they shouted together. They let go of the tall man's hands and started running. Their small shoes clicked on the marble floor. People smiled as the children ran past their tables. It was a sweet moment, innocent and pure. Imani stood up from her chair. She opened her arms wide. The children crashed into her. She caught them both and hugged them tightly. The little girl wrapped her arms around Imani's neck. The little boy buried his face in her shoulder. "We missed you, Mommy," the little girl said loudly. "I missed you too, baby," Imani said softly. The crowd smiled and whispered, "How sweet. Her children are beautiful. What a lovely moment." But Harrison could not breathe. He stared at the children. The little boy lifted his head from Imani's shoulder. Harrison saw his face clearly. The boy had green eyes, bright green eyes exactly like Harrison's. The same shade, the same shape. The little girl pulled back from the hug and smiled up at Imani. She had dimples, deep dimples in both cheeks. Harrison had those same dimples. He saw them every morning in the mirror. Both children had light brown skin. Both had curly black hair. The boy's smile was identical to Harrison's smile. The girl's nose was shaped exactly like his nose. Harrison's champagne glass slipped from his hand. It fell in slow motion. It hit the marble floor and shattered. Glass and champagne splashed everywhere. The sound echoed through the ballroom. Everyone turned to look. Hundreds of eyes focused on Harrison. His face was completely pale. His mouth hung open. His eyes were locked on the two children at the front of the room. Dylan followed Harrison's gaze. He looked at the children. Then he looked back at Harrison. His eyes widened. "Oh my God," Dylan whispered. Stephen looked between Harrison and the children. He saw the green eyes. He saw the dimples. He saw the resemblance immediately. "Harrison, are those—" "Don't," Harrison said. His voice was barely a whisper. But it was too late. People at nearby tables heard the glass break. They saw Harrison's shocked face. They saw him staring at the children. They looked at the children more closely. They saw the features, the eyes, the dimples, the smile. Whispers spread through the ballroom like fire. "Look at those children. Do you see their eyes? They look just like Harrison Caldwell. Are those his children? Did you know he had children? I never heard about any children." The tall man in the gray suit walked to Imani's table. He leaned down and spoke quietly to her. Imani nodded. She kissed both children on their foreheads. "You two need to go home now," Imani said gently. "It is past your bedtime." "But we wanted to see you in your pretty dress," the little girl said. "And you did. Thank you for coming," Imani said. She kissed the girl's forehead again. "I love you, Zoe." "I love you too, Mommy," Zoe said. Imani turned to the little boy. She touched his cheek. "Be good for Marcus, okay?" "Okay, Mommy," the boy said. "I love you." "I love you, Carter," Imani said. "Carter and Zoe." Their names were Carter and Zoe. Harrison heard the names but could not process them. These were his children, his son and daughter. They were 5 years old. They called Imani Mommy. They hugged her with pure love. They existed. They were real. And he never knew them. Marcus, the tall man in the gray suit, took both children's hands. Carter waved at the crowd with his free hand. People waved back. Zoe giggled and blew kisses. The crowd laughed warmly. Marcus led them toward the exit. But before they left, Carter turned back one more time. His green eyes scanned the ballroom. For just a second, his gaze landed on Harrison. The boy tilted his head slightly. He looked curious. Then Marcus gently pulled him toward the door. They disappeared into the hallway. The ballroom was completely silent. No one spoke. The orchestra stopped playing. Even the waiters stood still. Then the whispers started again. Louder this time. "Those are definitely his children. Look at his face. He looks terrified. Did he know about them? How could he not know? Maybe he abandoned them. Oh my God, Harrison Caldwell abandoned his own children." Dylan turned to Harrison. His face showed disgust. "Tell me those are not your kids." Harrison could not answer. His whole body shook. "Tell me you did not abandon your own children," Dylan said louder. People at the next table heard. They turned to stare. "Dylan, lower your voice," Stephen hissed. "No," Dylan said. He stood up. "Tell me the truth, Harrison. Are those your kids?" Harrison finally looked at Dylan. Tears filled his eyes. He nodded once. Dylan stepped back like Harrison hit him. "You have kids? You have twins and you never told us?" "I didn't know," Harrison whispered. "You didn't know?" Dylan's voice rose. "That woman clearly knew. Those children clearly exist. How did you not know?" Harrison could not explain. He had no words, no excuses. 6 years ago, he ran away. He blocked Imani's calls. He ignored her letters. He told his secretary to turn her away if she came to his office. He chose to not know. He chose his career over his family. The whispers grew louder, and someone in the crowd lifted a phone to take a picture. The flash from the phone camera lit up Harrison's face. He turned away quickly. His hands covered his eyes. More phones came out. More flashes. People at other tables pulled out their phones and aimed them at Harrison. "Put the phones away, please," a hotel staff member said. "No photography during the auction." But it was too late. At least 5 people took photos. By tomorrow morning, those photos would be everywhere. Harrison Caldwell sitting at a table with his mouth open. Harrison Caldwell staring at 2 children. Harrison Caldwell looking guilty. Marcus, the tall man in the gray suit, returned to the ballroom after taking the children outside. He walked directly to Imani's table. He leaned down and spoke quietly into her ear. Imani nodded. She remained calm. Her face showed no emotion. She looked like nothing unusual just happened. The auctioneer cleared his throat loudly. "Ladies and gentlemen, let us continue. Miss Davis has won the Picasso painting for $7 million. Congratulations, Miss Davis." He banged his gavel. The sound echoed through the silent ballroom. A few people clapped politely. Most people still stared at Harrison. Imani stood up from her table. She smoothed her gold gown. She picked up her small gold purse. Marcus handed her a piece of paper. It was the auction receipt. She folded it carefully and placed it in her purse. Harrison watched her every movement. His chest felt tight. His breathing was fast and shallow. He needed to talk to her. He needed to know the truth, even though he already knew it. Those children were his. Carter and Zoe were his son and daughter. Dylan grabbed Harrison's wrist hard. "Sit down. Do not make this worse." "I need to talk to her," Harrison said. "No, you need to sit here and be quiet," Dylan said through his teeth. But Harrison pulled his arm away. He stood up so fast, his chair fell backward. It hit the marble floor with a loud crash. Everyone jumped. All eyes turned to him again. "Harrison, do not do this," Stephen hissed. Harrison did not listen. He walked away from the table. His legs felt weak. His expensive shoes clicked on the marble floor. People moved their chairs back as he passed. They whispered behind their hands. "Where is he going? Is he going to talk to her? This is unbelievable." Harrison pushed past a waiter carrying champagne glasses. The waiter stumbled. The glasses shook, but did not fall. "Excuse me, sir," the waiter said. Harrison did not apologize. He kept walking. His eyes stayed locked on Imani. She stood at the front of the ballroom talking to Marcus. She looked so different from 6 years ago. Back then, she wore simple clothes from regular stores. She lived in a small apartment in Queens. She took the subway to work every day. She was a junior software developer making $50,000 a year. Now she wore a custom gown. She sat in the front row at the Plaza Hotel. She just spent $7 million without blinking. She built a company worth $2 billion. She raised 2 children alone. She became powerful without him. She became successful without him. Harrison finally reached her table. He stopped 3 feet away. His heart pounded so hard he thought everyone could hear it. "Imani," he said. She turned slowly. Her dark brown eyes looked at him without emotion. She did not look angry. She did not look surprised. She looked completely indifferent, like he was a stranger, like he meant nothing. "Can I help you?" she asked. Her voice was calm and cold. "I need to talk to you," Harrison said. His voice shook. "I do not think we have anything to discuss," Imani said. "Those children," Harrison started. "Carter and Zoe," Imani said. "Their names are Carter and Zoe." "Are they mine?" Harrison asked. "Are those my children?" The question hung in the air. People at nearby tables stopped pretending to talk. They leaned closer to listen. Marcus stepped slightly forward. He positioned himself between Imani and Harrison, protective. Imani looked at Harrison for a long moment. Then she said clearly, "Yes, Carter and Zoe are your children, but you are not their father." The words hit Harrison like a physical blow. He stumbled backward slightly. "What does that mean?" "It means biology does not make you a father," Imani said. "Being a father means showing up. It means choosing your children every day. You did not do that. You are not their father." "I didn't know," Harrison said desperately. "If you had told me," Imani laughed. It was a cold laugh with no humor. "If I had told you," she repeated. "I called you 37 times after you left my apartment that night. 37 times, Harrison. You did not answer once. I sent you letters. I went to your office building on Park Avenue. Your secretary turned me away. She said you gave specific instructions not to let me in." Harrison's face went completely white. He remembered those instructions. He remembered telling his secretary that if a woman named Imani came looking for him, he was not available. He remembered blocking her number. He remembered throwing away letters without opening them. "I was scared," Harrison whispered. "You were scared?" Imani's voice rose slightly. It was the first emotion she showed. "You were 36 years old. You had a successful company. You had money and power and every resource in the world. And you were scared?" "I didn't want to be a father," Harrison admitted. "I wasn't ready." "And I was?" Imani asked. "I was 32 years old. I was pregnant with twins. I lived in a studio apartment. I made $50,000 a year. I was alone. But I did not have the luxury of being scared. I had to be strong because 2 lives depended on me." Harrison reached out to touch her hand. "Imani, please." She pulled her hand away fast. "Do not touch me." Marcus moved closer. "Miss Davis, should I call security?" "Not yet," Imani said. She kept her eyes on Harrison. "You made your choice 6 years ago. You chose your reputation over your family. You chose your comfort over your responsibility. I made my choice too. I chose my children. I chose to build a life for them. I chose to love them and protect them and give them everything they need. I want to meet them, Harrison said. Tears filled his eyes. I want to know them. Why? Imani asked sharply. Because you feel guilty? Because people saw them tonight? Because your friends are judging you? Because they are my children, Harrison said. No, Imani said firmly. They are my children. I carried them. I gave birth to them alone. I stayed up all night when they were sick. I taught them to walk and talk and read. I built a company so they would never worry about money. I did everything. You did nothing. Dylan appeared next to Harrison. His face was red with anger. I heard everything, Dylan said to Harrison. Dylan, this is not your business, Harrison said. You are my business partner, Dylan said. Or you were. I cannot work with someone who abandons his own children. I cannot be associated with you. People at the nearest tables gasped. They heard every word. Dylan did not lower his voice. He wanted them to hear. You are disgusted by what I did? Harrison asked. You think you are better than me? Yes, Dylan said simply. I am better than you. Any man who walks away from his pregnant girlfriend is a coward. Harrison turned back to Imani. She picked up her purse. She nodded to Marcus. They started walking toward the exit. Wait, Harrison called. Please, wait. Imani stopped. She did not turn around. She spoke over her shoulder. If you truly want to be in their lives, you will prove you changed. You will show up consistently. You will put them first. I will not let you hurt them the way you hurt me. I promise I will, Harrison said. I will do anything. Promises mean nothing, Imani said. Actions matter. Show me through your actions. She walked away. Her gold gown sparkled under the chandeliers. Marcus walked beside her. They left the ballroom together. The doors closed behind them. Harrison stood frozen in place. Everyone stared at him. He heard whispers everywhere. Did you hear that? He abandoned her when she was pregnant. He has 2 children he never met. What kind of man does that? Someone lifted their phone again. Another flash, another photo. Harrison turned and saw at least 10 people with their phones out. They were recording. They captured everything. Stephen walked up to Harrison. We should leave, now. But Harrison could not move. His legs felt like stone. He looked around the ballroom. Every single person stared at him with judgment in their eyes. His reputation crumbled right there on the marble floor of the Plaza Hotel. Harrison realizes his entire world just collapsed, and there is nothing his money can do to fix it. A woman at a nearby table lifted her phone higher. She zoomed in on Harrison's face. The camera light blinked red. She was recording a video. Stephen grabbed Harrison's arm firmly. We need to go, right now. Harrison finally moved. He turned away from the staring faces. He walked quickly toward the exit. Stephen stayed close behind him. Their footsteps echoed on the marble floor. The orchestra started playing again, but the music sounded distant and hollow. They reached the lobby. Harrison kept walking. He pushed through the heavy glass doors. The cold December air hit his face. Snow fell heavier now. It covered the sidewalk and the street. Limousines lined up along Fifth Avenue. Drivers stood beside their cars waiting for their passengers. Harrison looked left and right. He saw Imani standing near the curb. She held her gold purse in one hand. Marcus stood beside her. He spoke into his phone. He was probably calling their driver. Harrison, where are you going? Stephen called from behind. Harrison ignored him. He walked directly toward Imani. The Plaza Hotel doorman saw him coming. The doorman was a large man in a green uniform with gold buttons. He stepped in front of Harrison. Sir, please give the lady space, the doorman said. I need to talk to her, Harrison said. Sir, I need you to step back, the doorman said firmly. "It is okay, Robert," Imani said to the doorman. "Let him speak." Robert stepped aside but stayed close. He watched Harrison carefully. Marcus also moved closer to Imani. Protective. Harrison stopped 3 feet away from her. Snow fell on his expensive suit. He did not notice. "Please," Harrison said, "just give me 5 minutes." "I already gave you 6 years," Imani said. "You did nothing with that time." "I made a mistake," Harrison said. His voice broke. "The biggest mistake of my life." "You made a choice," Imani corrected him. "Mistakes are accidents. You chose to leave. You chose to ignore my calls. You chose to block me from your office. Those were deliberate decisions." "I was terrified," Harrison said. "When you told me you were pregnant, I panicked. I thought a family would ruin everything I built." "And did it?" Imani asked. "Did having a family ruin my life? I built a $2 billion company while raising twins alone. I succeeded because of them, not in spite of them." Harrison had no answer. She was right. She became more successful than him. She did it while being a mother. She did what he was too afraid to do. A black car pulled up to the curb. The driver got out and opened the back door. Marcus nodded to Imani. "Your car is ready, Miss Davis." "Wait," Harrison said desperately. He stepped forward. Robert the doorman moved between them immediately. "Sir, step back," Robert said. "Please," Harrison begged. He looked at Imani over Robert's shoulder. "Let me meet them. Let me meet Carter and Zoe properly. Let me be their father." Imani looked at him for a long moment. Her dark eyes showed no warmth. "You want to be their father now? After 5 years?" "Yes," Harrison said. "I know I do not deserve it. I know I abandoned you. But please, give me a chance." "Why should I?" Imani asked. "Give me one good reason why I should let you into their lives." "Because they deserve to know their father," Harrison said. "They deserve a father who wants them," Imani said sharply. "Not a father who shows up because he got caught. Not a father who feels guilty because his people took his picture at a gala." "That is not why," Harrison said. "When I saw them tonight, when I saw Carter's green eyes and Zoe's smile, something broke inside me. I realized what I lost. I realized I threw away the most important thing in the world." "You threw me away," Imani said. Her voice was cold. "You threw away your children before they were even born. You did not lose us. You discarded us." Harrison felt tears running down his face. He did not wipe them away. "You are right. I am sorry. I know those words mean nothing, but I am truly sorry." Imani stepped closer. Robert let her pass. She stood directly in front of Harrison. She was tall in her heels. She looked into his eyes. "Do you know what it felt like?" she asked quietly. "Do you know what it felt like to call you 37 times and hear nothing? Do you know what it felt like to stand outside your office building in the rain, begging your secretary to let me see you?" Harrison shook his head. More tears fell. "Do you know what it felt like to give birth to twins alone?" Imani continued. "The hospital made me list an emergency contact. I had no one. I wrote my grandmother's name. She was 78 years old and lived in Baltimore. She took a bus to New York to help me. She held my hand while I pushed. She was there when you should have been there." "I am so sorry," Harrison whispered. "Your apologies do not change anything," Imani said. "Your tears do not erase 6 years." "I know," Harrison said. "But I want to try. I want to be in their lives. Please." Imani stepped back. She looked at him with something that might have been pity. "If you truly want to be in their lives, you must prove you changed, not with words, not with money, with actions." "I will," Harrison said. "I will do whatever it takes." "You must show up consistently," Imani said. "You must put them first. You must be patient. Carter and Zoe do not know who you are." They will not run into your arms. They will not call you Dad. You will have to earn their trust slowly." "I understand," Harrison said. "And if you hurt them," Imani said, her voice becoming hard, "if you walk away again, if you make them feel abandoned the way you made me feel abandoned, I will make sure you never see them again. Do you understand me?" "Yes," Harrison said. "I built an empire to protect my children," Imani said. "I have resources you cannot imagine. I have lawyers and security and influence. If you betray them, you will regret it." Harrison believed her. He saw the fire in her eyes. She was not making empty threats. She was making promises. Imani turned toward the car. Marcus held the door open. Before she got in, she looked back at Harrison one more time. "Show me you changed. Prove it through your actions. Then maybe, I will consider letting you meet them." "How do I prove it?" Harrison asked. "Tell me what to do." "Figure it out yourself," Imani said. "That is part of growing up." She got into the car. Marcus closed the door. He walked around to the other side and got in. The driver returned to his seat. The black car pulled away from the curb. Red taillights disappeared down Fifth Avenue into the snowy night. Harrison stood alone on the sidewalk. Snow covered his hair and shoulders. His expensive suit was ruined. He did not care. Stephen appeared beside him. "Come on," Stephen said quietly. "Let me take you home." "I can walk," Harrison said. "I live 3 blocks away." "You should not be alone right now," Stephen said. "I have been alone for 6 years," Harrison said. 3 more blocks will not matter." Stephen looked like he wanted to argue, but he nodded. "Call me if you need anything." Harrison did not respond. He started walking north on Fifth Avenue. The Plaza Hotel lights grew distant behind him. The snow fell harder. His shoes were not made for walking in snow. His feet got wet and cold. He passed expensive stores with Christmas displays in their windows. He passed other people in warm coats hurrying home. No one recognized him. No one knew his face was probably already on the internet. He reached his building. The doorman opened the door. "Good evening, Mr. Caldwell." "Good evening, James," Harrison said quietly. He took the elevator to the 28th floor. He unlocked his apartment door. The apartment was dark and silent. It was 3,000 square feet. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Central Park. Modern furniture that cost a fortune. Artwork on every wall. Everything was perfect and empty. Harrison pulled his phone from his pocket. The screen lit up with notifications. 43 missed calls. 62 text messages. 20 voicemails. He scrolled through the names. Dylan called 8 times. Stephen called 3 times. His lawyer called 5 times. Unknown numbers called the rest. His father left 2 voicemails. Harrison opened his internet browser. He typed his own name into the search. The results loaded immediately. The first headline read, "Billionaire CEO Harrison Caldwell has secret children." The second headline read, "Harrison Caldwell, confronted by baby mama at Plaza Gala." The third headline showed a photo. It was Harrison, staring at Carter and Zoe with his mouth open. His face looked pale and shocked. Harrison dropped the phone. It hit the hardwood floor but did not break. He walked to his living room window. He looked out at the Manhattan skyline. Millions of lights sparkled in the darkness. Somewhere in Brooklyn, in another penthouse, his children were probably sleeping. Carter and Zoe, his son and daughter. They had no idea who he was. Harrison sat down on the floor. He put his head in his hands. For the first time in 20 years, Harrison Caldwell cried. Harrison woke up on the floor. Sunlight came through the windows. His body ached. His suit was wrinkled. He still wore his shoes. He looked at his phone on the floor beside him. The screen showed 8:32 in the morning. It was Saturday. He cried himself to sleep on the floor of his own apartment. He stood up slowly. His legs felt stiff. He walked to his bathroom and looked in the mirror. His eyes were red and swollen. His hair stuck up in strange directions. He looked terrible. He turned on the shower. He stood under the hot water for a long time. He did not wash himself. He just stood there. When he finally got out, he put on sweatpants and a t-shirt. He never wore sweatpants. He always wore expensive clothes, even at home. But today, he did not care. He made coffee. He sat at his kitchen counter and opened his laptop. He searched his name again. More articles appeared, more headlines, more photos. Harrison Caldwell silent after Gala scandal. Sources say Caldwell knew about children. Imani Davis, the woman Harrison Caldwell left behind. Harrison read every article. Each one felt like a knife. Some articles included photos of Imani from business magazines. She looked powerful and confident. Other articles showed old photos of Harrison at charity events with different women on his arm. The message was clear. Harrison Caldwell cared more about his image than his family. His phone rang. He looked at the screen. It was Dylan. Harrison did not answer. The phone stopped ringing. Then it rang again. This time it was his lawyer, Thomas Morrison. Harrison answered. "Thomas," Harrison said. "Harrison, we need to talk," Thomas said. His voice was serious. "Have you seen the news?" "Yes," Harrison said. "This is bad," Thomas said. "Very bad. We need to control this narrative immediately. I recommend we release a statement." "What kind of statement?" Harrison asked. "Something that explains your side," Thomas said. "Something that makes you look sympathetic. We can say you did not know about the children. We can say Miss Davis never informed you properly." "No," Harrison said. "No," Thomas repeated. "Harrison, your reputation is being destroyed. We need to act fast." "She called me 37 times," Harrison said quietly. "She sent letters. She came to my office. I knew. I chose not to respond." Thomas was silent for a moment. Then he said, "You do not need to admit that publicly." "I am not going to lie," Harrison said. "Then what do you want me to do?" Thomas asked. "Nothing," Harrison said. "I do not want you to do anything. Harrison, think about your company. Think about your investors. Think about—" Harrison hung up. He turned off his phone. He did not want to talk to anyone. The weekend passed slowly. Harrison stayed in his apartment. He ordered food delivery. He did not check his emails. He did not look at social media. He tried to watch television but could not focus. He kept thinking about Carter and Zoe. He kept seeing their faces. Carter's green eyes. Zoe's dimples. On Monday morning, Harrison forced himself to go to the office. He arrived at 9 o'clock. The receptionist looked uncomfortable when she saw him. "Good morning, Mr. Caldwell," she said quietly. "Good morning, Jennifer," Harrison said. He walked to his office. People stopped talking when he passed. They stared at their computers. They pretended to be busy. Harrison closed his office door. He sat at his desk. Within 10 minutes, Dylan walked in without knocking. "We need to talk," Dylan said. "Come in," Harrison said sarcastically. "Oh, wait, you already did." Dylan closed the door behind him. He did not sit down. "I am ending our partnership." Harrison looked up. "What?" "I cannot work with you anymore," Dylan said. "I cannot be associated with someone who abandons his children." "Dylan, can we talk about this?" Harrison asked. "There is nothing to talk about," Dylan said. "I already spoke to my lawyer. We are dissolving our business agreements. You will receive the paperwork by the end of the week." "You are destroying our business over this?" Harrison asked. "You destroyed it yourself," Dylan said. "I have a daughter, Harrison. She is 3 years old. When she grows up, I do not want her to see me working with a man who walked away from his own kids." Dylan opened the door. He walked out without looking back. Harrison sat alone in his office. His hands shook. Dylan was his biggest partner. They managed over $200 million in properties together. 2 days later, Harrison received emails from 2 other major clients. They pulled their accounts from Caldwell Capital. They used professional language. They said they were moving in a different direction. But Harrison knew the truth. They did not want to work with him anymore. By Friday, reporters started calling the office. Jennifer transferred 3 calls before Harrison told her to stop answering. He looked out his window. On the street below, he saw 2 people with cameras. They stood across from his building. They waited for him to come out. Harrison stopped going to work the following week. He stayed in his apartment. He wore the same sweatpants for 3 days. He did not shave. He ordered whiskey delivery. He drank expensive whiskey alone and stared at the wall. On the 10th day after the gala, someone knocked on his apartment door. Harrison ignored it. The knocking continued. He finally stood up and walked to the door. He looked through the peephole. His father stood in the hallway. Harrison opened the door slowly. "Dad?" "Harrison," Richard Caldwell said. He was 70 years old, with gray hair and sharp blue eyes. He wore an expensive navy suit. He looked at Harrison with disapproval. "You look terrible." "Come in," Harrison said. Richard walked into the apartment. He looked around. He saw the empty whiskey bottles on the counter. He saw the unwashed dishes in the sink. He frowned. "This is unacceptable." "I am having a bad week," Harrison said. "You are having a public relations disaster," Richard corrected. He sat on the white leather couch. "We need to fix this immediately." "How do you suggest we fix it?" Harrison asked. He sat across from his father. "You hire a public relations firm," Richard said. "You release a statement. You control the narrative." "What narrative?" Harrison asked. "That I abandoned my pregnant girlfriend? That is exactly what happened." "You do not admit that," Richard said firmly. "You say you did not know about the children. You say Miss Davis never properly informed you." "That is a lie," Harrison said. "It is strategy," Richard said. "This woman is making you look bad. We need to make her look worse." Harrison stared at his father. "Make her look worse? She raised my children alone. She built a $2 billion company. She did everything right." "She kept your children from you," Richard said. "She hid them for 6 years. That makes her look manipulative." "She did not hide them," Harrison said. His voice rose. "She called me 37 times. I blocked her. She came to my office. I refused to see her. She did everything she could to tell me." Richard's jaw tightened. "Then you made a mistake. But you do not need to destroy your entire life over one mistake." "One mistake?" Harrison repeated. "I have 2 children who do not know I exist. That is not a mistake. That is a choice I made every single day for 6 years." "You are being dramatic," Richard said. "Children are resilient. Pay child support. Set up trust funds. Move on with your life." Harrison stood up. He looked at his father clearly for the first time. He saw a cold man who cared more about reputation than truth. He saw the man who taught him that emotions were weaknesses. He saw the reason he ran away from Imani 6 years ago. "Get out," Harrison said quietly. "Excuse me?" Richard said. "Get out of my apartment," Harrison said louder. Richard stood up slowly. "You are making a mistake." "I already made the mistake," Harrison said. "I am not making another one. I will not lie about Imani. I will not make her look bad. She did nothing wrong. I did everything wrong." "You are throwing away your career," Richard said. "Then I throw it away," Harrison said. "I threw away my family. I can throw away my career too." Richard walked toward the door. He stopped and looked back. "You are weak, just like your mother." "My mother had a heart," Harrison said. "Something you never had." Richard left. The door closed hard behind him. Harrison stood in his empty apartment. He felt something break inside him, but it was not a bad break. It was the break of something that needed to break, the part of him that valued reputation over truth, the part of him that measured worth by money, the part of him that ran from vulnerability. Harrison walked to his bedroom. He opened his closet. On the top shelf he found an old box. He pulled it down. Inside were photos from 6 years ago, photos he kept but never looked at. He sat on his bed and opened the box. The first photo showed Imani laughing at a restaurant in Brooklyn. Her smile was huge. Her eyes were bright. Harrison remembered that night. She told him about her dream to start her own tech company. She talked for 2 hours about her ideas. He told her she was brilliant. He meant it. He loved her. The second photo showed them at a park. Imani wore a yellow sundress. Harrison had his arm around her shoulders. They looked happy. They were happy. Harrison found more photos. Imani at his apartment cooking dinner. Imani reading a book on his couch. Imani sleeping peacefully in his bed. He loved her. He really loved her. But when she got pregnant, his fear became stronger than his love. He chose his comfort over her. He chose himself over his family. Harrison closed the box. He put it back on the shelf. He could not undo the past, but he could change who he was now. He could become the man Carter and Zoe deserved, not for his reputation, not for his father's approval, for them. He picked up his phone. He turned it on for the first time in days. He opened his browser. He searched for therapists in Manhattan. He found one named Dr. Angela Martinez. She had good reviews. Her website said she specialized in family issues and personal growth. Harrison clicked the contact button. He filled out the form. He requested an appointment as soon as possible. Within an hour, he received an email. Dr. Martinez had an opening tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Harrison confirmed the appointment. He walked to his living room window. He looked at his reflection in the dark glass. He saw a man who needed to die so someone better could be born. Harrison woke up early the next morning. He shaved for the first time in 10 days. He showered. He put on clean clothes, dark jeans and a simple gray sweater. No expensive suit. No designer watch. He looked at himself in the mirror. He looked different. Tired, but determined. Dr. Angela Martinez's office was in Midtown Manhattan on 42nd Street. Harrison arrived 15 minutes early. The waiting room was small and quiet. Soft music played from hidden speakers. There were plants on the windowsill, comfortable chairs. Everything felt calm. At exactly 10 o'clock, a door opened. A woman in her 50s stepped out. She had dark hair pulled back in a bun. She wore glasses and a kind smile. "Harrison Caldwell?" she asked. "Yes," Harrison said. He stood up. "I am Dr. Martinez. Please come in." Harrison followed her into a small office. 2 chairs faced each other. A small table sat between them with a box of tissues. Books lined one wall. The window overlooked the busy street below. "Please sit wherever you are comfortable," Dr. Martinez said. Harrison sat in the chair closest to the door. Dr. Martinez sat across from him. She held a notebook and pen. "Thank you for coming," she said. "I know taking this first step is not easy." "I did not have a choice," Harrison said. "My life fell apart." "Tell me what happened," Dr. Martinez said. Harrison told her everything. He told her about meeting Imani 6 years ago. He told her about the pregnancy. He told her how he ran away. He told her about the gala, about seeing Carter and Zoe for the first time, about everyone staring at him. about his business falling apart, about his father coming to his apartment. Dr. Martinez listened without interrupting. She wrote notes occasionally. When Harrison finished talking, she was quiet for a moment. "Why did you leave when Imani told you she was pregnant?" she asked. "I was scared," Harrison said. "Scared of what specifically?" Dr. Martinez asked. Harrison thought about the question. "Scared of failing. Scared of being a bad father. Scared of losing my freedom." "Did you have an example of good fatherhood growing up?" Dr. Martinez asked. Harrison laughed bitterly. "No, my father is cold. He only cares about success and reputation. He never hugged me. He never said he was proud of me. When I made a mistake, he called me weak." "So you learned that showing emotion is weakness, Doctor," Martinez said. "Yes," Harrison said. "And when Imani got pregnant, you felt emotions you could not control." Dr. Martinez continued. "Fear, panic, vulnerability. And because you learned those emotions were weakness, you ran away from them." Harrison stared at her. "Yes, that is exactly what happened." "You were not running away from Imani or the babies," Dr. Martinez said gently. "You were running away from your own feelings." Harrison felt tears in his eyes. "I destroyed everything because I was afraid to feel." "You made choices based on fear," Dr. Martinez said. "But you can make different choices now. You can choose to feel. You can choose to be vulnerable. You can choose to face what scares you." "I want to," Harrison said. "I want to be a father to Carter and Zoe, but I do not know how." "That is why you are here," Dr. Martinez said. "We will work on this together." Harrison started seeing Dr. Martinez 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 in the morning. Each session, they talked about different things: his childhood, his relationship with his father, his fear of failure, his need for control. After his first week of therapy, Harrison decided to write to Imani. He sat at his kitchen counter with paper and a pen. He did not type on his computer. He wrote by hand. His handwriting was messy, but honest. "Dear Imani," he wrote, "I know you do not want to hear from me. I know I do not deserve your attention, but I want you to know I started therapy. I am trying to understand why I made the choices I made. I am not making excuses. I just want to become better, for Carter and Zoe, and for myself, Harrison." He mailed the letter to Apex Innovation Technologies in Brooklyn. He did not know if Imani would read it. She did not respond. But the next week, he wrote another letter. And the week after that, every Monday, he wrote to her. He told her what he learned in therapy. He told her about his progress. He never asked her to forgive him. He never asked to see the children. He just wrote. Harrison also made other changes. He met with a real estate agent and put his Fifth Avenue apartment on the market. The apartment sold in 2 weeks for $4.2 million. He did not need that much space. He did not need a view of Central Park. He found a smaller apartment in the West Village. 1 bedroom, 900 square feet. It cost much less. It felt more honest. He sold his expensive watches. He sold his designer suits. He kept only what he needed. He gave the money to charity. He donated to the Children's Hospital of New York, the same charity the Gala supported. One afternoon, Dr. Martinez gave him homework. "I want you to volunteer somewhere," she said. "Help other people. Stop thinking about yourself for a few hours each week." Harrison searched online for volunteer opportunities. He found a community center in Harlem that needed math tutors for kids. He called them. They said he could start the following Tuesday. The community center was on 125th Street. It was an old brick building with bright murals painted on the walls. Inside, kids ran around playing. Volunteers helped with homework. A woman named Patricia ran the tutoring program. She was 60 years old with kind eyes. "You are here to help with math?" Patricia asked. "Yes," Harrison said. "I have a degree from Harvard Business School. I am good with numbers." "Good," Patricia said. "We have 12 kids who need help. Most of them are between 8 and 12 years old." Harrison started tutoring on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. At first, it felt strange. He did not know how to talk to children. But slowly, he learned. He learned to be patient. He learned to listen. He learned that helping someone else made him feel useful. On a Saturday morning in late January, Harrison went to the community center. He did not usually volunteer on Saturdays, but Patricia asked him to help with a special program. When he arrived, he saw a group of kids standing near the entrance with an adult. The adult looked familiar. Harrison walked closer. His heart stopped. It was Marcus, the tall man in the gray suit from the Gala, Imani's assistant. Marcus saw Harrison at the same moment. Their eyes met. Marcus said something to the kids. He walked toward Harrison slowly. "Hello, Harrison," Marcus said. "Hello," Harrison said. His voice shook. "What are you doing here?" "I volunteer with a youth mentorship program," Marcus said. "We bring kids here twice a month. What are you doing here?" "I tutor math," Harrison said. "Twice a week." Marcus studied Harrison's face. "How long have you been doing this?" "6 weeks," Harrison said. Marcus nodded slowly. "Imani mentioned you have been writing letters." Harrison's heart raced. "She reads them?" "Every single one," Marcus said. "She does not respond because she is protecting herself, but she reads them." "I do not expect her to respond," Harrison said quickly. "I just want her to know I am trying." "Are you?" Marcus asked. "Are you really trying? Or are you doing this because you want something?" "I am doing this because I need to be better," Harrison said, "even if Imani never forgives me. Even if I never meet Carter and Zoe. I need to be someone different than who I was." Marcus looked at him for a long moment. "Why?" "Because the person I was destroyed the only thing that mattered," Harrison said. His voice broke. "I want to be the kind of man my children deserve, even if they never know me." Marcus crossed his arms. "Imani is watching you. She sees what you are doing. She knows you sold your apartment. She knows you started therapy. She knows you volunteer here." "How does she know all that?" Harrison asked. "She has resources," Marcus said simply. "She wanted to make sure you were not going to hurt Carter and Zoe." "I would never hurt them," Harrison said. "You already did," Marcus said. "You hurt them by not being there. Now she needs to see if you will stay." Harrison nodded. He understood. "I will stay. I promise." "Promises do not mean much to her anymore," Marcus said. "You made promises before and broke them. Show her through actions." "I will," Harrison said. "How long does she need to watch?" Marcus pulled out his phone. He looked at something on the screen. Then he looked up at Harrison. "She agreed to let you meet them." Harrison stopped breathing. "What?" "1 hour, supervised, next Saturday at 10 in the morning at her penthouse in Brooklyn," Marcus said. "If you are late, the offer disappears. If you bring gifts, the visit ends. If you make promises you cannot keep, you never see them again." Harrison felt tears in his eyes. "I will be there." "Do not make me regret telling her you were ready," Marcus said. "I will not," Harrison said. "Thank you." Marcus nodded. He walked back to the group of kids. Harrison stood alone in the community center. He had 7 days to prepare for the most important hour of his life. Harrison went straight to Dr. Martinez's office after leaving the community center. She had an emergency opening at 3 o'clock. He sat in her office, and his hands would not stop shaking. "I am meeting them next Saturday," Harrison said. "I am meeting Carter and Zoe." "That is wonderful," Dr. Martinez said. "How do you feel?" "Terrified," Harrison admitted. "What if they hate me? What if I say the wrong thing? What if I make everything worse?" "Those fears are normal," Dr. Martinez said. But remember what we talked about. You cannot control how they feel. You can only control how you show up. How do I show up? Harrison asked. What do I bring? What do I say? Dr. Martinez leaned forward. You bring yourself, your honest self. Not the CEO version, not the version that tries to impress people. Just you. What if that is not enough? Harrison asked. Then you try again, Dr. Martinez said. Being a parent is not about being perfect. It is about being present. Harrison spent the next 7 days preparing. On Monday, he went to a toy store near his apartment. The store was huge with colorful displays everywhere. Remote control cars, electronic tablets, giant stuffed animals. Everything looked expensive and impressive. Harrison picked up a remote control helicopter that cost $300. He put it in his basket. Then he remembered Dr. Martinez's words. Children need presents, not presents. He put the helicopter back. He left the store empty-handed. On Tuesday, he tried to write down what he would say to Carter and Zoe. He sat at his kitchen counter with a notebook. He wrote, Hello, I am your father. He crossed it out. He wrote, I am sorry I was not there. He crossed that out too. He wrote 10 different versions. None of them sounded right. How do you introduce yourself to your own children? He threw the notebook away. On Wednesday, Dr. Martinez asked him about his preparation. What have you done so far? Nothing, Harrison said. I went to a toy store, but did not buy anything. I tried to write what I would say, but everything sounds wrong. Good, Doctor, Martinez said. Good? Harrison asked. How is that good? Because you are not trying to control the situation, Dr. Martinez said. You are letting yourself be uncertain. That is growth. It does not feel like growth, Harrison said. It feels like failure. Failure would be buying expensive gifts to hide behind, Doctor, Martinez said. Failure would be memorizing a speech to sound perfect. You are doing neither. You are being real. On Thursday, Harrison decided to go to Brooklyn. He wanted to find something meaningful. He took the subway to Park Slope. He walked around the neighborhood. He saw parents with their children, kids riding bikes, families holding hands. He saw what he missed for 5 years. He found a small bookstore on 7th Avenue. The sign above the door said, Community Books. Harrison walked inside. The store smelled like paper and coffee. Shelves were packed with books from floor to ceiling. Children's books filled an entire section in the back. A young woman with red hair and glasses stood behind the counter. She looked up when Harrison entered. Can I help you find something? She asked. Yes, Harrison said. I need books for 5-year-old twins, a boy and a girl. Wonderful, the woman said. She came around the counter. I am Sophie. What do they like? Harrison realized he had no idea. He did not know what his children liked. He did not know their favorite colors or their favorite foods. He knew nothing about them. I do not know, Harrison said quietly. Sophie looked at him carefully. Are you meeting them for the first time? Harrison nodded. He felt embarrassed. That is okay, Sophie said gently. Let me show you some books that most 5-year-olds love. She led him to the children's section. She pulled books from different shelves. This one is about dinosaurs. Most kids love dinosaurs. This one is about a girl who loves to paint. This one is about a family. This one teaches counting. This one is about being brave. Harrison looked at each book. He picked up the dinosaur book. I will take this one. Just one? Sophie asked. I do not want to overwhelm them, Harrison said. Books are never overwhelming, Sophie said with a smile. Take a few. Read them before you go. Then you can talk about the stories with them. Harrison picked 6 books total. 2 about dinosaurs. 1 about art. 1 about families. one about being kind, one about asking questions. He paid and thanked Sophie. That night, Harrison sat on his couch and read all 6 books. Some were only 20 pages. He read them 3 times each. He studied the pictures. He thought about what questions Carter and Zoe might ask. He imagined their voices. Friday night, Harrison could not sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow morning he would meet his children, his son and daughter. They had lived 5 years without him. They did not know his face. They did not know his voice. They had no idea who he was. He thought about what Imani said outside the Plaza Hotel. "You are not their father." She was right. Biology did not make him a father. Showing up made him a father. Choosing them every day made him a father. Tomorrow was his first choice, the first of many he hoped. At 5:30 in the morning, Harrison gave up on sleep. He got out of bed. He made coffee. He showered and dressed carefully. He wore dark jeans and a navy sweater. Nothing fancy, nothing that screamed money. He looked normal, approachable. He put the 6 books in a canvas bag. He left his apartment at 8:45. He did not call a car service. He walked to the subway station. He took the train to Brooklyn. He used to only take private cars everywhere, but he was learning to live differently. He was learning to be normal. The subway was crowded on Saturday morning. People going to work. Families going shopping. Harrison stood holding the rail. A little girl about 4 years old stood near him with her father. She had pigtails and a pink jacket. She looked up at Harrison and smiled. He smiled back. His heart hurt. He arrived at Imani's building at 9:45. It was a modern glass building overlooking the East River. The lobby had marble floors and expensive furniture. A doorman in a gray uniform sat at a desk. "Can I help you?" the doorman asked. "I am here to see Imani Davis," Harrison said. "My name is Harrison Caldwell." The doorman checked a list on his computer. He nodded. "You are expected, 20th floor. Elevator is on your right." "Thank you," Harrison said. His hands started shaking as he walked to the elevator. He pressed the button. The elevator arrived and the doors opened. He stepped inside. The doors closed. He watched the numbers light up. 5, 8, 12, 15, 18, 19, 20. The doors opened. Harrison stepped into a hallway. It was quiet. Only 2 doors, one on each end. Imani's penthouse was on the left. Harrison walked slowly. His heart pounded so hard he heard it in his ears. He reached her door. He raised his hand to knock. Before he could, the door opened. Imani stood there. She wore jeans and a simple white sweater. Her hair was natural and curly around her shoulders. She looked beautiful. She looked strong. She did not smile. "You are on time," she said. "Yes," Harrison said. His voice came out rough. "Come in," Imani said. She stepped aside. Harrison walked into the penthouse. It was filled with light. Large windows showed the Manhattan skyline and the river. The furniture was modern but comfortable. Toys sat in a corner. Drawings covered the refrigerator. This was a home, a real home filled with love. "Before you meet them, we need to talk about rules," Imani said. She closed the door. "Okay," Harrison said. "You have 1 hour," Imani said. "I will be in the room the entire time. If Carter or Zoe become uncomfortable, the visit ends immediately. Do you understand?" "Yes," Harrison said. "You do not make promises you cannot keep," Imani continued. "You do not tell them you will be their father. You do not tell them you will see them every day. You do not promise anything unless you are absolutely certain you can deliver." "I understand," Harrison said. "If you hurt them in any way, you never see them again," Imani said. Her voice was hard, not legally, not emotionally, Not in any way. Are we clear? We are clear, Harrison said. Imani studied his face. She looked for signs of the old Harrison, the arrogant CEO, the man who cared only about himself. Harrison stood still and let her look. He had nothing to hide anymore. What is in the bag? Imani asked. Books, Harrison said. I bought 6 books. I read them all. I thought maybe Carter and Zoe would like them. Let me see, Imani said. Harrison opened the bag. He showed her the books. She looked through them. Her face softened slightly. These are good choices. A woman at a bookstore helped me, Harrison admitted. Imani handed the books back. She took a deep breath. They are nervous. I told them someone wants to meet them. I did not tell them who you are. I want to see how this goes first. That is fair, Harrison said. Wait here, Imani said. She walked down a hallway. Harrison stood in the living room. He heard voices, children's voices, one high and bright, one lower and more serious. His children, Carter and Zoe. He heard their laughter. His eyes filled with tears before he even saw their faces. Harrison wiped his eyes quickly. He heard footsteps in the hallway, small footsteps mixed with Imani's. He took a deep breath. He stood up straight. Imani walked into the living room first. Behind her came 2 small children holding hands, Carter and Zoe. They stopped when they saw Harrison. They stared at him with wide eyes. Carter stood on the left. He wore blue jeans and a red shirt with a dinosaur on it. His green eyes looked exactly like Harrison's eyes. His curly black hair was cut short. He stood slightly in front of his sister, protective. Zoe stood on the right. She wore purple leggings and a yellow shirt. Her curly hair was pulled into 2 puffs with purple ribbons. She had deep dimples when she smiled, but she was not smiling now. She looked curious and cautious. Imani knelt down next to them. She put one hand on Carter's shoulder and one hand on Zoe's shoulder. Carter, Zoe, this is Harrison. He wants to meet you. You do not have to talk to him if you do not want to. You are safe. I am right here. Carter nodded seriously. He did not take his eyes off Harrison. Zoe leaned closer to her mother. Hi, Zoe said quietly. Hello, Harrison said. His voice cracked. He cleared his throat. Hello, Zoe. Hello, Carter. I am very happy to meet you. Harrison did not step closer. He did not reach out his hands. Instead, he sat down on the floor. He crossed his legs. He wanted to be at their level, not standing above them, not looking down at them. Carter tilted his head. Why are you sitting on the floor? Because I want to talk to you the right way, Harrison said. I do not want to stand up here while you stand down there. Okay, Carter said. Zoe let go of Imani's hand. She took 2 small steps forward. Why do you want to meet us? Harrison felt his throat tighten. This was the question he practiced answering all week. But now that she asked it, all his prepared words disappeared. Because you're special, Harrison said. And because I made mistakes. What kind of mistakes? Carter asked. He stepped forward too, but stayed next to his sister. Harrison looked at Imani. She nodded slightly. Permission to be honest. A long time ago, I knew your mommy, Harrison said slowly. We cared about each other. Then your mommy told me she was going to have babies. She was going to have you 2. And I was scared. Scared of what? Zoe asked. Scared to be a dad, Harrison said. Scared I would not be good at it. Scared I would fail. So I left. I went away. That was wrong. Very wrong. Carter frowned. You left our mommy alone? Yes, Harrison said. Tears filled his eyes. I left her alone. She was very brave. She took care of you by herself. She is the strongest person I know. Zoe looked back at Imani. Mommy is strong. Very strong, Imani said softly. Carter stared at Harrison. His green eyes were serious. Too serious for a 5-year-old. "Are you our dad?" The question hung in the air. Harrison's heart stopped. He looked at Carter. He looked at Zoe. He saw himself in their faces, his eyes, his dimples, his smile. But they were not his. They were Imani's. She raised them. She loved them. She earned them. "Biologically, yes," Harrison said carefully. "That means we share the same blood. But I have not earned the right to be called your dad. That is something I hope to earn if you let me. But it will take time, and you get to decide." Carter thought about this. He looked at his sister. Zoe shrugged. "Do you like dinosaurs?" Zoe asked suddenly. The question surprised Harrison. Smiled. "I am learning about them. I do not know very much yet." Carter's eyes lit up. "I know everything about dinosaurs. I have 3 books about them, and I have toy dinosaurs. Do you want to see?" "I would love to see," Harrison said. Carter looked at Imani. "Can I show him?" "If you want to," Imani said. Carter ran down the hallway. His footsteps were loud on the hardwood floor. Zoe stayed in the living room. She walked closer to Harrison, not too close, about 5 feet away. "I like to draw," Zoe said. "What do you draw?" Harrison asked. "Everything," Zoe said. "I draw our house, I draw Mommy, I draw Carter, I draw dinosaurs even though Carter says I draw them wrong." "I do not think there is a wrong way to draw," Harrison said. Zoe smiled. Her dimples showed. Harrison's chest hurt. Carter ran back into the room. He carried a big book about dinosaurs. The book was almost as big as he was. He stopped a few feet from Harrison. He put the book on the floor. He sat down next to it. Not right next to Harrison, but close enough. "This is my favorite book," Carter said. He opened it to a page with a large dinosaur. "This is a Tyrannosaurus rex. Everyone calls it T-Rex. It lived 65 million years ago. That is a very long time." "That is a very long time," Harrison agreed. "It ate meat," Carter continued. "It was a carnivore. That means it ate other dinosaurs." "What is your favorite dinosaur?" Harrison asked. Carter turned pages. He found a different dinosaur. This one, the Triceratops. It has 3 horns. It was a herbivore. That means it ate plants. It was peaceful unless something attacked it. Harrison leaned closer to look at the picture. Carter did not move away. "Why is that your favorite?" "Because it protected its family," Carter said. "It used its horns to keep everyone safe." Harrison felt tears again. He blinked them back. "That is a good reason." Zoe ran to her room. She came back with papers, drawings. She spread them on the floor next to Carter's book. "Look, I drew this." Harrison looked at the drawing. It showed a building with windows. 3 people stood in front. 1 tall with curly hair, 2 small ones holding hands. "Is this your house?" "Yes," Zoe said proudly. "That is Mommy. That is me. That is Carter." "It is beautiful," Harrison said honestly. "I will draw you too if you come back," Zoe said. Harrison's throat tightened. "I would like that." Carter turned more pages in his dinosaur book. He explained each one. The Stegosaurus with plates on its back. The Velociraptor that was smaller than movies show. The Brachiosaurus with a long neck. Harrison listened to every word. He did not check his phone. He did not look at his watch. He was completely present. Imani sat on the couch watching. She did not interrupt. She watched Harrison carefully, looking for signs he was fake, looking for signs he would run again. But Harrison just sat on the floor listening to his son talk about dinosaurs, listening to his daughter explain her drawings. "Do you have a favorite color?" Zoe asked Harrison. "I do not know," Harrison said. "I never thought about it." "What is your favorite color?" "Purple," Zoe said. She pointed to her ribbons. See? Purple is a good color, Harrison said. What is your favorite color, Carter? Harrison asked. Green, Carter said, like the Triceratops in the book. They talked about colors. They talked about favorite foods. Carter liked pizza. Zoe liked macaroni and cheese. They talked about cartoons. They talked about their school. They had a teacher named Miss Williams. She was nice. Harrison asked questions. He listened to their answers. He did not talk about himself. He did not talk about money or his apartment or his company. He talked about them. He let them lead the conversation. At one point, Zoe stood up. She walked closer to Harrison. She looked at his face carefully. You have green eyes like Carter. I do, Harrison said. And you have dimples like me, Zoe said. I do, Harrison said. That is because you are related, Carter said. That is what Mommy said. Related means you share things. Your mommy is right, Harrison said. Time passed quickly. Too quickly. Imani looked at her phone. It has been 1 hour. Harrison felt panic. 1 hour already? It felt like 10 minutes. Do you have to go? Carter asked Harrison. Yes, Harrison said. Your mommy said I could visit for 1 hour. I do not want to break the rules. Rules are important, Carter said seriously. Harrison stood up slowly. His legs hurt from sitting on the floor. Carter and Zoe stood up too. They looked at him. Thank you for showing me your book, Carter, Harrison said. Thank you for showing me your drawings, Zoe. You are welcome, they said together. Harrison walked toward the door. Imani followed him. Carter and Zoe stayed in the living room. Harrison opened the door. He stepped into the hallway. He turned back to say goodbye. Zoe ran toward the door. She stopped in the doorway. She looked up at Harrison with her big brown eyes. Will you come back? Harrison looked at Imani. Imani looked at him. Her face was unreadable. He did not know what to say. He did not want to lie. He did not want to make promises he could not keep. I would like to, Harrison said carefully, but that is up to your mommy. If she says yes, then yes. I will come back. Zoe looked at Imani. Can he come back, Mommy? Imani was quiet for a moment. Then she said, We will see. Zoe smiled. She waved at Harrison. Bye. Bye, Zoe, Harrison said. Bye, Carter. Carter waved from the living room. Imani closed the door slowly. Harrison stood alone in the hallway, staring at the closed door. He just met his children. He just spent 1 hour with Carter and Zoe. And he realized he had been given a gift he did not deserve. Harrison took the elevator down. His legs felt weak. When he reached the lobby, he walked outside. The cold air hit his face. He walked to a bench near the river. He sat down and stared at the water. He just met his children. Carter with his serious questions about dinosaurs. Zoe with her purple ribbons and drawings. They were real. They were not an idea anymore. They were two small people with personalities and favorite colors and voices that would stay in his head forever. Harrison pulled out his phone. He called Dr. Martinez. It was Saturday, but she answered. Harrison, she said, is everything okay? I met them, Harrison said, and his voice shook. I met Carter and Zoe. How did it go? Dr. Martinez asked. I do not know, Harrison said. They talked to me. Carter showed me his dinosaur book. Zoe showed me her drawings. But at the end, Zoe asked if I would come back. I did not know what to say. What did you say? Dr. Martinez asked. I said it was up to their mother, Harrison said. Imani said we will see. What does that mean? Does that mean no? Does that mean she will think about it? It means exactly what it sounds like, Dr. Martinez said. She is watching you. She is seeing if you really changed or if this was just one performance. It was not a performance, Harrison said. "I sat on the floor with them for an hour. I listened to everything they said. I did not check my phone once." "Then you did well," Dr. Martinez said. "Now you wait. You let Imani decide. You do not pressure her. You do not push. You trust the process." "I do not know if I can wait," Harrison admitted. "You have to," Dr. Martinez said. "This is not about what you want anymore. This is about what Carter and Zoe need. And what they need is consistency, patience, proof that you will not run away again." Harrison stayed by the river for 2 hours. Then he went home to his small apartment in the West Village. He sat on his couch. He looked at the 6 books he brought back. He never gave them to Carter and Zoe. He forgot. He opened the dinosaur book and read it again. He thought about Carter's serious voice, explaining each dinosaur. 2 days later, Harrison received a text message from an unknown number. "This is Imani. You can visit again next Saturday. Same time, 1 hour." Harrison stared at the message. His hands shook. He typed back quickly, "Thank you. I will be there." The next Saturday, Harrison arrived at 9:45 again. Imani opened the door. She looked tired, but she let him in. Carter and Zoe were already in the living room. They looked up when Harrison entered. "Hi, Harrison," Zoe said. She remembered his name. "Hi," Carter said. He held a different dinosaur book. Harrison sat on the floor again. "Hi, Carter." "Hi, Zoe. How was your week?" "Good," Zoe said. "I drew a picture for you." She ran to get it. Carter showed Harrison his new book. It was about ocean dinosaurs. They were not actually dinosaurs, but ancient sea creatures. Carter explained the difference. Harrison listened carefully. Zoe came back with her drawing. It showed 4 people now, 1 tall woman, 2 small children, and 1 tall man with green eyes. "That is you," Zoe said, pointing to the man. Harrison's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Zoe. This is beautiful. Can I keep it?" Zoe looked at Imani. Imani nodded. "You can keep it," Zoe said. Harrison folded the drawing carefully. He put it in his pocket. They talked for the full hour. At the end, Imani said, "You can come back next Saturday if you want." "I want to," Harrison said. This became their routine. Every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. 1 hour. Sometimes they read books together. Sometimes they played with blocks. Carter loved building tall towers. Zoe loved knocking them down. Sometimes they just talked. Harrison learned new things every visit. Carter was afraid of the dark, so he slept with a nightlight. Zoe loved singing, but only when she thought no one was listening. After 4 visits, Imani increased the time to 90 minutes. After 6 visits, she let them sit closer to Harrison. Carter sat right next to him to show his books. Zoe sat on Harrison's other side to draw. 2 months after their first meeting, Imani made a decision. She called Harrison on a Wednesday evening. "Hello?" Harrison answered. "It is Imani," she said. "I want to talk to you about something." Harrison's heart raced. "Okay." "You have been consistent," Imani said. "You show up every Saturday. You do not bring expensive gifts. You do not make promises you cannot keep. Carter and Zoe ask about you during the week." "They do?" Harrison asked. "Yes," Imani said. "Carter asks when Harrison is coming back. Zoe drew 3 more pictures of you. They are starting to trust you." Harrison did not know what to say. "I am going to let you take them to the park," Imani said. "But Marcus will come with you. You will not be alone with them yet. That needs to be earned over more time." "I understand," Harrison said. "Thank you, Imani. Thank you for giving me this chance." "Do not thank me," Imani said. "Just keep showing up." That Saturday, Marcus met Harrison at the penthouse. Marcus wore casual clothes, jeans and a jacket. He shook Harrison's hand. "Ready?" "Yes," Harrison said. They walked to Prospect Park. It was a warm day in early April. Trees had new green leaves, flowers bloomed in the gardens. Carter and Zoe ran ahead on the path. They held hands with each other. They looked back to make sure Harrison and Marcus followed. "Stay where we can see you," Marcus called. "Okay," Carter yelled back. They reached a playground. Carter ran to the swings. Zoe ran to the slide. Other children played everywhere. Parents sat on benches watching. Harrison stood near the swings. He felt awkward. He did not know what to do with his hands. "Push me," Carter called from the swing. Harrison walked over. He stood behind Carter. He pushed the swing gently. Carter laughed. "Higher!" Harrison pushed harder. Carter went higher. His legs kicked in the air. "This is fun!" Zoe climbed to the top of the slide. She slid down and landed in the sand. She ran back to do it again. Marcus stood near the slide watching her. He smiled. After 30 minutes, they left the playground. They walked on a path around the lake. Ducks swam in the water. Zoe wanted to feed them, but they did not bring bread. Harrison made a mental note, next time bring bread for the ducks. "Can we get ice cream?" Zoe asked. Marcus looked at Harrison. "Do you want to get them ice cream?" "Is that okay?" Harrison asked. "It is okay with me if it is okay with their mother," Marcus said. He called Imani. She said yes, but nothing with too much sugar. They found an ice cream cart near the park entrance. Harrison bought vanilla ice cream for Carter and strawberry ice cream for Zoe. Marcus got chocolate. Harrison got nothing. "You do not want ice cream?" Zoe asked. "I am okay," Harrison said. "I like watching you enjoy yours." They sat on a bench. Carter and Zoe ate their ice cream. It melted fast in the warm sun. Ice cream dripped on their hands. Zoe laughed when some dripped on her shirt. Marcus gave them napkins. After ice cream, they started walking back to Imani's building. It was a 20-minute walk. Carter and Zoe walked in front again. Harrison and Marcus walked behind. "You are doing well," Marcus said quietly. "Thank you," Harrison said. "I was angry at you at first," Marcus admitted. "When Imani told me what you did 6 years ago, I wanted to punch you." Harrison nodded. "I deserved it." "But you are trying," Marcus said. "I see that. Imani sees it too. She does not say it, but I know her. She is scared you will leave again, but she is also hopeful you will stay." "I will stay," Harrison said. "I promise." "Good," Marcus said. They walked in comfortable silence. The sun was warm. The park smelled like flowers and fresh grass. Carter stopped to look at a dog. The dog was big and fluffy. The owner let Carter pet it. Zoe was scared at first, but then she petted it too. As they left the park and walked on the sidewalk toward Imani's building, Carter looked back at Harrison. He smiled. Then he ran back. He walked next to Harrison. He reached up and took Harrison's hand. Harrison stopped walking. He looked down. Carter's small hand held his. It was warm and a little sticky from ice cream. It was the most important thing Harrison ever held. Tears ran down Harrison's face. He could not stop them. He did not try. Carter looked up at him. "Why are you crying?" Harrison knelt down. He was at Carter's level. He held Carter's hand gently. "These are happy tears. I am crying because I am happy. Thank you for trusting me, Carter." Carter tilted his head. "You are welcome." Then he hugged Harrison. Harrison wrapped his arms around his son. He felt Carter's small body against his chest. He smelled his hair. He felt his breathing. This was real. This was his son, his child. And Carter chose to hug him. Zoe ran back. "I want a hug too." Harrison opened one arm. Zoe ran into the hug. Harrison held both his children. He closed his eyes. He memorized this moment. The weight of them, the warmth of them, the sound of their laughter. Marcus stood a few feet away. He wiped his own eyes. He pulled out his phone and took a picture. He would send it to Imani later. Harrison finally let go. He stood up. Carter and Zoe each took one of his hands. They walked the rest of the way holding hands. 3 people connected. When they reached Imani's building, she was waiting in the lobby. She saw them through the glass doors. She saw her children holding Harrison's hands. She saw Harrison's face, red from crying but smiling, genuinely smiling. Carter and Zoe ran to her when they entered. "Mommy, we got ice cream, and we fed ducks, and I pet a big dog." Zoe talked fast. "Harrison pushed me on the swings," Carter said, "and he cried happy tears." Imani looked at Harrison over the children's heads. Their eyes met. Harrison did not say anything. He did not need to. Imani saw everything in his face. "Same time next Saturday?" she asked quietly. "Yes," Harrison said. "Please." Imani nodded. She took Carter and Zoe's hands. They walked to the elevator. Harrison watched them go. Marcus stood beside him. "You did good today," Marcus said. Harrison could not speak. He just nodded. He walked out of the building into the April sunshine, knowing he just experienced the most important day of his life. 6 months passed. Spring turned to summer. Summer turned to fall. Harrison's life looked completely different now. He sold Caldwell Capital in May. He did not get the price he wanted, but he did not care. The company represented who he used to be. He worked as a financial consultant now. He had 3 clients, small businesses that needed help with their accounts. He made much less money, but he had something he never had before: time. He still saw Dr. Martinez 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. They talked about his progress, about his fears, about learning to be a father, about forgiving himself. "Do you still feel guilty?" Dr. Martinez asked during one session in September. "Every day," Harrison admitted. "I see Carter and Zoe and I think about the 5 years I missed. Their first words, their first steps. I will never get those back." "No, you will not," Dr. Martinez said. "But you have now. You have today and tomorrow and every day after if you choose it." "I choose it," Harrison said. "I will always choose it." Harrison still volunteered at the community center in Harlem, Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. He tutored 12 kids now. Some of them reminded him of Carter, serious and thoughtful. Others reminded him of Zoe, bright and creative. He helped them with math homework. He listened to their problems. He showed up consistently. Patricia, who ran the program, pulled him aside one Thursday. "The kids love you, Harrison. You have been here for almost a year. You never miss a day. That means something." "It means something to me, too," Harrison said. His relationship with Carter and Zoe grew slowly but steadily. After the day at the park, Imani started letting him visit twice a week, Wednesday afternoons and Saturday mornings. After 2 more months, she let him pick them up from school on Wednesdays. Their school was in Brooklyn. Harrison took the subway from Manhattan. He waited outside with the other parents. When Carter and Zoe saw him, they ran over with big smiles. "Harrison!" they yelled together. They did not call him Dad. They called him Harrison. He was okay with that. He had not earned Dad yet. Maybe he never would. That was their choice to make. On Wednesdays, Harrison took them to his apartment in the West Village. It was small, but they loved it. He kept toys there now. Blocks for Carter. Art supplies for Zoe. They did homework at his kitchen table. Then they played until Imani picked them up at 6 o'clock. On Saturdays, they went to museums or parks or bookstores. Sometimes Marcus came. Sometimes Harrison went alone with them. Imani was learning to trust him. It took 9 months, but she finally let him be alone with them. One Saturday in late October, they went to the Natural History Museum. Carter wanted to see the dinosaur exhibits. They stood in front of a huge T-Rex skeleton. Carter stared up at it with wide eyes. "It is so big," Carter whispered. 65 million years ago. These walked on Earth, Harrison said. I wish I could see a real one, Carter said. Me too, Harrison said. But then it might eat us. Carter laughed. Zoe held Harrison's hand. She was not interested in dinosaurs. She wanted to see the gem exhibit. They went there next. Zoe stared at huge purple crystals behind glass. That is my favorite color, Zoe said. I remember, Harrison said. Purple. You remember? Zoe looked up at him, surprised. I remember everything you tell me, Harrison said. They ate lunch in the museum cafeteria. Chicken nuggets for both kids, a salad for Harrison. They sat at a small table near the window. People walked around them, families, parents with children. Harrison was one of them now. He was a parent with his children. After lunch, they sat on the museum steps outside. The weather was cool but sunny. Carter played with a small toy dinosaur Harrison bought him from the gift shop. Zoe drew in a small notebook. Harrison, Zoe said without looking up from her drawing. Yes, Harrison said. Why did you leave when we were babies? Zoe asked. Harrison's heart stopped. Carter stopped playing with his toy. He looked at Harrison. They both waited for an answer. Harrison had known this question would come eventually. Dr. Martinez prepared him for it, but sitting here on the museum steps with both children staring at him, all his prepared answers felt wrong. I was scared, Harrison said honestly. When your mommy told me she was going to have you, I panicked. I thought I would be a bad dad. I thought I would fail, so I ran away. I chose my fear over you. That was the worst decision I ever made. Did you know about us? Carter asked quietly. Yes, Harrison said. Your mommy tried to tell me many times. She called me. She wrote me letters. She came to my office. I ignored all of it. That was wrong. Very wrong. She did nothing wrong. I did. Zoe thought about this. Do you love us now? Harrison's throat tightened. Tears filled his eyes. Yes, I love you more than anything in the world. Then why did you not love us before? Zoe asked. I did love you, Harrison said, but I loved my fear more. I loved my comfortable life more. I loved myself more. Now I understand that real love means choosing someone every single day. Real love means showing up, even when it is hard. Carter put down his toy. Are you going to leave again? No, Harrison said firmly. I will never leave you again. I promise. You said we should not make promises we cannot keep, Carter said seriously. You are right, Harrison said. So I will show you instead. I will show you every Wednesday, every Saturday, every day I can. I will show you I am here. Zoe nodded. She went back to her drawing. Carter picked up his toy dinosaur. The conversation was over. Children processed things differently than adults. They asked hard questions and then moved on. But Harrison knew the question would come again, in different forms, as they grew older, and he would answer honestly every time. That evening, Harrison brought them back to Imani's penthouse. It was 5:30, earlier than usual. Imani opened the door. She looked surprised. You are early, she said. They were getting tired, Harrison said. Carter fell asleep on the subway. Imani looked at Carter. He was half asleep in Harrison's arms. Harrison carried him inside. He laid Carter gently on the couch. Zoe went to her room. Thank you, Imani said quietly. For what? Harrison asked. For bringing them home when they were tired, Imani said. For not pushing to keep them longer. For respecting their needs over your wants. Harrison nodded. They asked me today why I left when they were babies. Imani's face changed. What did you say? The truth, Harrison said. I told them I was scared. I told them I made the worst decision of my life. I told them I love them now. Imani was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I started a scholarship fund. What? Harrison asked. A scholarship fund for single mothers who want to start businesses, Imani said. I named it after my grandmother. She raised me when my mother died. She taught me strength. That is amazing, Harrison said. I want to help women who were in my position, Imani said. Women who were left alone with children. Women who need support to build something. How can I help? Harrison asked. Imani looked at him. You donate monthly already, Marcus told me. I want to do more, Harrison said. Then keep showing up for your children, Imani said. That is how you help. That is what matters. Said it 3 weeks later, Imani called Harrison on a Tuesday evening. I want to invite you to Thanksgiving dinner. Harrison almost dropped his phone. What? Thanksgiving, Imani repeated. Carter and Zoe asked if you could come. I am making dinner at my place. Marcus will be there. My grandmother's best friend lives in Brooklyn now. She will be there too. It will be small, but the kids want you there. I would love to come, Harrison said. Thank you. Now Thanksgiving was cold and clear. Harrison took the subway to Brooklyn carrying a pumpkin pie. He bought it from a bakery near his apartment. He arrived at 6 o'clock. Imani opened the door. She wore jeans and a comfortable sweater. The apartment smelled like turkey and stuffing. Come in, she said. Carter and Zoe ran to him. Harrison, you came. Of course I came, Harrison said. He hugged them both. Marcus was in the kitchen helping Imani. He waved at Harrison. An older black woman sat on the couch. She had gray hair and warm eyes. She stood up when Harrison entered. You must be Harrison, she said. I am Dorothy. I knew Imani's grandmother. Nice to meet you, Harrison said. He shook her hand. They sat down for dinner at 7 o'clock. The table was full of food. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, green beans, cranberry sauce, rolls. Imani made everything herself. They held hands around the table. Imani said a prayer, thanking God for health and family and second chances. Harrison's eyes filled with tears. Second chances. That is what this was. A second chance he did not deserve, but was given anyway. They ate and talked. Carter told everyone about the dinosaur exhibit. Zoe showed Dorothy her drawings. Marcus told a funny story about his week. Imani smiled more than Harrison had ever seen. She looked relaxed, happy, beautiful. After dinner, they played board games. Carter won twice. Zoe won once. Harrison won 0 times, but he did not care. He was exactly where he wanted to be. At 9 o'clock, Carter and Zoe went to bed. Imani tucked them in. Harrison sat in the living room with Marcus and Dorothy. They drank coffee and talked quietly. When Imani came back, Dorothy and Marcus said goodnight. They left together. Harrison started to leave too. Wait, Imani said. Can we talk? Of course, Harrison said. They sat on the couch. The apartment was quiet. Lights from Manhattan sparkled across the river through the windows. You have been showing up for almost a year now, Imani said. Every Wednesday, every Saturday, you never cancel, you never make excuses. The kids trust you. I will always show up, Harrison said. I know, Imani said. I believe you now. I did not believe you at first. I thought you would quit after a month. But you proved me wrong. I am glad I proved you wrong, Harrison said. I am still angry at you, Imani said quietly. I do not know if that anger will ever completely go away. You hurt me deeply. You left me when I needed you most. I know, Harrison said. I will regret that for the rest of my life. But I see you are different now, Imani continued. You are not the man you were at the Plaza Hotel. You are not the man who left my apartment 6 years ago. You changed. I had to, Harrison said. The person I was destroyed everything that mattered. Carter and Zoe love you, Imani said. They do not call you Dad, but they love you, and I will not take that away from them. "Thank you," Harrison whispered. Imani stood up. "You should go home. It is late." Harrison stood up too. He walked to the door. Before he left, he turned back. "I know we will never be together again. I know I destroyed that. But I want you to know you are the strongest, most incredible person I ever met. And I am sorry for everything." Imani nodded. Her eyes were wet, but she did not cry. "Good night, Harrison." "Good night, Imani." Harrison took the subway home. It was nearly 11 o'clock. The train was mostly empty. He sat by the window and looked at his reflection. He saw a different man now. Not a CEO, not a billionaire. Just a man who was learning what it meant to be a father. 4 weeks later, it was Christmas. Imani invited Harrison over on Christmas morning. He arrived at 9 o'clock. Carter and Zoe were already awake. They wore matching pajamas. They showed Harrison all their presents: books, toys, art supplies, new dinosaurs for Carter. Imani made hot chocolate. They sat together and watched the children play. It was quiet, simple, perfect. Harrison realized something sitting there. He lost everything once: his company, his reputation, his wealth, his father's approval. But in losing it all, he found the only thing that ever truly mattered. A family, his children, Carter and Zoe. He finally understood what Imani told him a year ago outside the Plaza Hotel. Love is not something you say. It is something you do, every single day. As snow fell outside the window, Harrison watched his children laugh and play. He would show up tomorrow, and the day after that, and every day after. He would choose them, always, because that is what fathers do. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen